Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode. I've got a fun one for you today. I have an incredible guest speaker who is about to rock your world with the conversation of raising the standard of the coaching industry, which y'all know I'm all about. So, Miss Carly, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me. Finally, we made it after several false starts.
Seriously, what a fun time it was getting here, right? Like,
I know.
First it was scheduling, and then I'm like, my Wi-Fi's out and I'm at a coffee shop and it's loud and it's windy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk home.
This is perseverance for sure. We made it.
Yeah, we did it. So determined. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself to my audience, a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you got into the work that you're doing.
Of course. So hi, everyone. My name's Carly. I go online by Carly Anna. If you've seen me online, you probably would have seen my account on Instagram is the Midas Academy. So that is the business that I run. The company that I run is called the Midas Academy, which is essentially an academy for largely coaches, but it is designed for entrepreneurs all over the world in lots of different industries to create fulfillment in their businesses, and through that to create more success in their businesses. So really what we do is we center people's fulfillment as fulfillment and fun and enjoying their lives and enjoying their businesses as the vehicle for them to create more success. You know, it's so important to have these conversations around making more money as a business coach, because that's primarily what I do, but it's not the only part, right? Like, it's so important for us to be making money and making impact in ways that is really aligned to, you know, who we want to be on this planet and the purpose that we want to walk out. And so that's really essentially what the Midas Academy does as an umbrella. And one project that we're working on at the moment, like you just mentioned, is really about raising the standard within the coaching industry. So my background is in psychology. So I went down the psychology pathway. I was all set to become a clinical psych, finished my master's, looked around at my life and thought, actually, I don't want to be stuck in an office all day. I still really, really want to help people, and I really, really want to make an impact on people's lives, but I want to do it on my terms, you know?
Yeah.
Same old story for
100%.
so many of us who have transitioned into working for ourselves. That's really what grounds all of my work, is my background in psychology and behavior, and bringing that into the coaching world, which I think we just need more and more of, quite frankly.
Yeah. 100%. You know, what's so funny is I feel like a lot of us have similar stories in the sense of like, we thought we wanted to go into the world of psychology. Like I went to college, junior college, for 2 semesters. And I was like, I'm going to get my psychology degree. I wanted to get my AA in addiction studies, because like, when you are so new to this world, like you don't think that coaching is even a thing, right? So you're just like, psychology, that's how I can help people.
Absolutely. Like when I turned around and said to my bosses when I was, you know, working in psychology that I was going to become a coach, they were like, I'm sorry, what is that? Like,
yeah.
It wasn't even a thing.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not. And a lot of people are now obviously stepping into the role of coaching in the industry of the coaching industry. And not everyone, right? Not everyone has the intentions of, oh, like I can actually make this big impact and serve a lot of people. They see people who are making quick money. They see people who are, you know, like me. And I'm curious what your story has been with this too, of like, oh, like I scaled and made multiple 6 figures within 2-3 years. Right.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, I love the fact that that's a part of it. Right. I love that it does empower women to have these quantum leaps in their finances. And you can't lead with that.
No. I think our industry and our audiences are really wising up to that, and they have been for some time. And they're also sick of it, because a lot of them have, you know, they've made money and they've realized that making the money is not the be all and the end all. You know, healing your relationship with money is actually far more impactful on your life than making more money is. So, you know, our audiences are becoming far more nuanced in their understanding of what they actually want. They thought that they wanted more money, and that was where the industry went. we marketed to that, and then people wised up and realized that actually that wasn't what they wanted as much anymore. And yeah, it's still a bright shiny object to make a shitload of money in a really quick space of time, but you know, is it sustainable? Is it fulfilling? Is it actually making the impact that you want to make? Are you doing it ethically? Are you doing it morally? There's so many other questions that come along with that. Especially when you're hiring a coach, like there's so many other things to look at rather than just like, what does their bank balance say?
Oof, yes, that's massive, because it's so easy for someone to even say, I'm making this much money. But are they embodying the abundance of that? Like, can
exactly.
they? Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like I can go on a whole tangent, but I'm curious, what got you into this work?
Into coaching specifically, or into this work around fulfillment over money?
The work around fulfillment over money.
Yeah. So my background, I guess the story starts, and I'll try not to take too long to tell it.
Oh, take up space. This is your time.
Well, the story starts probably when I was back doing my master's, is that I was working in an industry. So I used to be a behavior consultant in schools and working with parents and teachers of children with really extreme behavioral issues. And so I led a lot of teams of what we would call behavior therapists, of people who were, you know, psychologists or training psychologists who were working with these kids. And the extreme, the normal experience for these therapists was burnout, that they would get into this job that they thought that they were going to love, that they had studied for years, that they had put all of their time and effort and money into becoming. And then they get into this job and then they realize that actually it's so freaking hard. And yes, while it is to an extent fulfilling, it's not enough to counteract the amount of stress that goes in, that they experience because of it. And so I've always had this chime in the back of my head of like, you know, but is it fulfilling? But is it actually the work that you want to do? Is it actually giving you more than you're giving to it? Because at the end of the day, if we want to have a sustainable business, career, relationship, anything, it has to, you know, give us, you know, something back from what we're putting into it. So I've always had this kind of feeling in the back of my mind of like, there's definitely got to be something more than just what we get from something in terms of the money behind it. And then I guess I became a business coach by accident. I looked at my client books one day, I think like so many of us do, and I was like, oh, I'm helping everyone build businesses. What's going on here?
Yep.
And of course, the theme was that these people weren't just wanting to build businesses. They wanted to lead more fulfilling, happier, full lives. And business was just part of how they did that. And I guess having kind of watched the industry grow over the last, I've been in it for about 5.5 years now, really watching the trends and watching what people get drawn to. I've always, you know, seen that the money thing is never going to last for very long, because I've always had clients come to me who are making great money and still not happy. So it's like there's like this art to fulfillment. There's this art to like, it's not just about like how much money can I make and then all of a sudden my life's going to be great. It's like, what is the secret sauce to fulfillment? And that's really what's driven my work for a long time now, is like figuring out what that is. And like, is there a secret sauce, or is it different for everybody? Is it an art form, or is it a science? And I guess, so to answer your question in short form, what got me into it was just curiosity. Like, how do we lead really fulfilling lives? Because at the end of the day, we only get one of them. I know that's very cliche, but we only get one life. Like, what are you going to do with it that's going to fulfill you and also make an impact on the world?
Yeah. Leave it better than you found it. Right.
I love that. Yeah.
I resonate so much. And I always think it's so powerful how we, women like us, find each other and we have this very aligned mission, but we speak a totally different language on it. Right. Yeah. Like you're the fulfillment. I'm like, let's live rich lives, right? Not just have a rich bank account, but live a rich life.
Yes.
And I wanted to just speak to that, because I think it's so beautiful that like so many of us who have created these deeply aligned, wildly successful businesses, like we get that. And I don't know about you. I know for me, there was a point in time where I lost sight of that. And
completely.
I fell into the same cycles and patterns that I did at my corporate job of just like climbing up the corporate ladder, but it was the coaching ladder. It was the same thing.
100%. Yeah.
And most of my audience already knows this story, but to speak to the reality of the money is not what fulfills you is I had my highest paying month at the time at a $41,000 month. And if I like on a comprehensive level was looking like, oh my God, I made $41,000 this month, you would think that I'd be the happiest person in the fucking world based off of how we perceive it.
Yeah.
I was so in my lack. It still felt not enough. It still didn't make me feel like abundant or rich. Like it wasn't the money that made me feel that way. And I had to do a lot more work. I had to do a lot more work around healing my relationship with money and creating internal abundance.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that, I think that is such a common experience, Sarah. Like, I have a lot of people who, come to me as clients who have done exactly that. They've had these really big months and then they've looked at their life and they're like, oh, but I'm like burnt out. I didn't enjoy it. I had to hustle my ass off to get here. I had to sacrifice parts of my life, parts of myself, worse, to get to this point. And then they associate that with making more money. And then so making more money becomes the devil. And it's like, but no. Like you can make more money and we want you to, because, the cliche, of course, like more money in the hands of women is actually like the best thing in the world, best thing for the world. We want you to have more money, but we just want you to do it in a way that is like going to add to your life, not take away from your life. And that's 100%. Something that one of my mentors said to me a lot last year. She was like, the standard for how you make money is really, really high. And so I think in some ways I felt like my journey has been slow. When I look at it, it hasn't, but in some ways it feels like it has. I think we can all kind of feel that way sometimes.
Totally.
And I think because of that, is like, I'm not willing to negotiate on like putting out offers that don't fulfill me, don't light me up, don't like, like it has to add to my life, not take away from it.
Such important conversations for everyone to be having with themselves.
100%.
Like where in your business, where in your life are you not totally lit the fuck up by it? And is it something that you can release?
Definitely. And, these are conversations that I've been having with myself a lot recently. So I've just got back from 10 weeks in Europe. So I just took, 10 weeks and traveled around, and my husband joined me for part of it. And
how fun,
it's so good. But I was, on my way home and I was like, like parts of my life are not in integrity with what I desire right now. And I had to have these really hard conversations with myself about like what needs to shift. And, the theme that I've been speaking about with clients a lot recently to do with this is like, if you want to have great, you have to be willing to give up good, because so many of us are comfortable in what we have. And to get to what we actually want, we have to give up the safety of that. We have to go, actually, I'm sorry, I'm not going to settle for that. And sometimes I'm going to light a flame to it and I'm going to blow some shit up. And that's going to be really uncomfortable and it's going to challenge so many things. Believe me, I've cried a lot in the last couple of weeks. But like, what's on the other side of that is us leading from the full embodiment and full integrity of you get to have what you want. And that, I think, is the conversation that so many of us are trying to have right now, is like, you get to have it the way that you want it, because for centuries, for thousands of years, women have not had that. And we're fighting all of that.
I got chills when you just said that. So ladies listening, go back, rewind that. You've got to be willing to give up good if you want great. Yeah. And I think that it's interesting that you say that, because I've been playing with the illusion of safety, right? Like safety is good. Safety is nice. I like feeling safe. I like knowing what works. And that's a lot in my business, right? Like I like that. And I know I'm meant for more and I'm just not willing to settle, right?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
having that balance between like, I'm really grateful for what I have and I'm not willing to settle for anything less.
I'm not willing to settle for it. Yeah. And that's a duality that I think a lot of people have a really hard time holding. I talk a lot about like muscles that you need to build. That is definitely one that everyone needs to build. Is like, how do you actually feel gratitude for what you have right now? And not from a perspective of like, I know that I'm supposed to feel gratitude so that I can manifest something else, but like actually feeling gratitude for what you have because you have it and you created it, and also holding the duality of, but it's not enough. And I know that I can have more than that, and giving yourself permission to want more than that as well.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I think that's such a great conversation to have around that conversation of raising the standard of the coaching industry, because you see a lot of people creating these lives and businesses based off of a checklist, like, oh, like I'm supposed to feel good to make more money or to have these clients, instead of like, I'm feeling good to feel good.
It's performative. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, it's strategic rather than being in the embodiment of what it actually is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so it right there. That word right there, performance. And like, we're not saying, I mean, maybe you're saying, but I know for me, you don't have to feel good 100% of the time.
You're not supposed to.
You're not. Yeah. You're not
it's like to. Supremely unhealthy.
Yeah. And like, can we also just say that like, we talked about this right before we started to record, when there was wind blowing, and I was like, yeah, I mean, my audience like kind of loves the authenticity, but like, if you can't hear me, let's change that. But it's like, people love the realness, you know, like
they do.
You're safe in your business to be like, I'm having a shit day and I'm still a powerful person and an incredible coach and CEO and all the things.
100%. Like, again, it's the duality. Like, just because you have a tricky day where emotions are running high, it doesn't mean anything about you. Like, in fact, it means more about you if you try to avoid them. And it means it's going to delay you from success even more if you try and avoid them. Like, you are a human. Lead with that.
Yep. There's no one you need to perform for. I love that.
Well, I think we can all see through it. We've all spent enough time on Instagram in the last few years to know exactly when someone is performing versus when they are speaking from their heart.
Yeah, it's so felt for sure. Okay. So something that you said earlier that I wanted to get your elaboration on was the difference between healing your relationship with money and making money. And the difference between those two, because that's a really important conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think the first thing to say is that like, we've been sold a lie that in order to make more money, you have to heal your relationship with money. And that's not necessarily true. Like, that's just a marketing strategy. You can make, and there are a lot of people making a lot of money who have got terrible relationships to it. So first of all, that's like number one. Yeah, sure. It's going to help you. It's going to help you to receive more of it if you have healed parts of your relationship with it, but it's not required. So we need to stop navel gazing at every second step and wonder why we're not making money all of the time. Stop asking that question. So there's a huge difference between like making money and healing your relationship with it. And one of them has a very big impact on your experience of life, and one of them does not really, right? So, I mean, healing your relationship with money to all aspects of it, to how we feel when other people have it, to how we feel when we receive it for doing next to nothing, for how we feel about it when we receive it for doing a lot of hard work, how we feel about, holding on to it, playing with it, receiving it, releasing it. Like, these are all aspects of our relationship with money that when you work on these aspects of it and like the nuances of these parts of your daily life, that's going to really impact pretty much most moments of your life, because money is involved with so many aspects of it, right?
100%.
So like, it feeds into everything. Like, so how willing are you to spend your money on like really nice underwear? Because when you put those on every morning, you are going to feel how you felt when you bought those pair of underwear, right?
Yep.
It feeds into everything. Versus if you have, learned how to make money, but you're making it out of alignment, making it through you know, if we're talking about the coaching industry, courses that you didn't actually want to sell, or clients that you fucking hate. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Absolutely.
Clients that you fucking hate showing up for. Like, if you have built that money through resentment or through performance or through trying to be someone that you're not, or trying to copy someone, like, every dollar that you receive and spend from that place is not going to fulfill you. It's going to be painful for you. And you're going to associate all of those things with the act of making money. And that's going to restrict your like future creation and receiving of it. Right? Does that answer your question?
Oh, fuck yeah. This is so good, because I talk a lot about how people often build foundations of their business based off of resentment, because it's not what they actually want. It's what other people are doing. And I'm so happy you spoke to the making money off of the things that aren't actually you. Like, you guys, there's so many things that can sell. You can sell absolutely anything, but that's not the point in entering into this world of the coaching industry. Like, it's to actually have a space to be yourself and make money being yourself, right? Like, that's the opportunity there. But you have to understand that, like, that resentment piece builds, it builds and it builds, because you're going to be working, like you said, with misaligned clients. You're going to have a lot of money and still be left wondering, why the hell am I not happy? I mean, there's so much icky energy around leading with, well, how can I make money, versus, okay, I'm going to lead with my heart and I'm going to create this beautiful relationship with money in the process.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you know much about Seth Godin, but his book, This Is Marketing, he talks, and this is always in the front of my mind, he talks about the difference between being marketing driven versus being market driven. And this is something that has happened. Yeah, good, right? This is something that I see like all the time in our industry, is like people who are creating offers because they clearly need to make some money that month, versus creating something that their market actually needs and desires and wants, and being market driven, not marketing driven. And I was having this conversation with one of my friends the other day, who friends and peers and clients, she runs a very, very successful marketing brand within our industry. And like, we were talking about why so many people don't succeed in this industry, and I think it's exactly that, is because they're in it for the complete wrong reasons, and they create from the complete wrong reasons. Like, coaching is a personal development tool, right? If you're selling something to someone that doesn't develop them in the way that they want to be developed, they're not going to buy it. Like, we have to stop putting our expectations of what we think that they want on them, and actually sell them what they actually need and want. And I think as soon as you start doing that and really getting curious about what the market wants, and leading them to places which you can, like, I think this is the exciting part, is like leading them to places that they don't even know that they want yet. And doing that in a really clever way, but like speaking to their soul rather than their mind. Like, that's where the money is to be made. But it's more than that. That's where the fulfillment is to be made. It's their fulfillment and your fulfillment.
100%. Yes. yes to that. I love that. I've never heard of the or what did you say? Creating for marketing or creating for the market?
Yeah. Market driven or marketing driven.
Market driven versus marketing driven. So good, you guys. And I think that that's a great opportunity for everyone listening to just get really, really naked with their truth and ask themselves, are they operating from a place of marketing or driving market audience, market driving? God, I can't say that word. Why is that so hard for me to say?
Driven.
Driven, market driven. But it is. And I think that by everyone listening to this, sitting down and asking themselves that question, that alone could really raise the standard in the coaching industry.
And it also, I think with a lot of the bigger names in this industry are modeling that they only really think about themselves And that, and I hate to say it because I don't like to call people out, and that's not why I'm saying what I'm saying, but you know, it's really modeled to us to think about our bank balance and to think about creating the success for ourselves versus like getting super freaking curious about what our people want and putting them first. So really taking it outside of like, how much money do I think I need to make this month? Because I think if I make that amount of money, then I'll finally be legitimate as a coach and a business owner. And actually just like, well, what the fuck do I want to help my people do?
Yeah.
What do I care about changing for them?
And like we said earlier, how can you leave this world a better place than you found it? You know, something that I asked myself a couple months ago, I mean, this has been such a year of death and rebirths constantly, simultaneously for me. But it's really been enlightening because I had to sit with a lot of hard questions around what direction I want to take my mission and company. But something that I sat with was like, if I was to burn it all down and not do this anymore, would I still want to do this work and not be paid for it? And the answer was, yeah. Like I genuinely, I can't not do this work. Right?
Exactly.
It's just kind of a cherry on top that I get to be massively compensated in the process. Right. But even if that was out of the equation, helping people, serving people, making this world a better place, like I couldn't not do that in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. There you go. I really like the flip of that question as well, is like, if money were completely taken care of for the rest of your life, would you still do this work?
I love that. Yep. So good. Such a good reframe. Oh, okay. Amazing. So something else that I wrote down that I would love to get your take on was how you predict the standard of the coaching industry will be raised. Like, what are some actionables that people can do and be in order to really make this industry back in integrity and back with being heart and soul led?
Well, I think the thing is we have to realize that the regulation of the coaching industry is not going to happen anytime soon. So this shift is not going to come top down. It has to go bottom up. And so what I think this means is two things. One, for us as consumers and clients, we have to get really discerning about who we are hiring and voting with our dollar.
Yeah.
Because your dollar is so important. And there are a lot of people making a lot of money from offers that are badly designed, that are not actually transformation focused, but these people have gotten really good at sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And so we have to be discerning about that. Is this person actually going to deliver on what they say that they're going to deliver on? Do they actually have like happy clients? What, you know, getting to ask these questions about where we are putting our money, that's going to be a huge one, because if we keep giving them our money, they are going to continue doing what they are doing. That is 100%. The basic premise of reinforcement, right?
Yeah.
So as consumers, we have to be really discerning about it. But as leaders, we also have another opportunity. Every single person who has a coaching business has an opportunity to raise the standard, because you all have the opportunity to wake up every single day and demand from yourself that you are the best that you can possibly be. Now, whether that means that you invest in professional development, or whether that means that you simply have, a higher range of self-awareness in yourself, and that you are actively seeking to be a more finessed, more transformational, more caring, transformation-driven coach in every single moment of your coaching journey, like, it doesn't really matter that much. I do believe in being well educated in what we do, because I think that there are a lot of things that, the coaching industry is blurring with therapy. And I think if we're going to do that, which is happening anyway, we need to make sure that we are really well educated in what lines we are crossing and how to do those in a very psychologically safe way.
Yeah.
But we have the power to do that ourselves. And no one's going to hold us to that standard except for us. And until we collectively hold the standard, the standard will not raise.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a groundswell. We need the majority of coaches to be demanding that there is a higher standard for people's education, for their professional development, for their ongoing support. There's a huge culture of investing in business coaches, but where's the culture of investing in your ongoing professional development?
Yes. Or learning how to be a good coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, that's really my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I love that so much. And my brand is the Embodied Coach, and it really is like, let's actually embody the work that we're doing, because and mind you, this is such a projection of like past me because when I first started the coaching industry, first it was like holistic health, life coach. My dog's all crying in the background. Holistic health, mindset coaching, and like really just like helping people quit their 9-to-5s, just building up the courage. Right. And then all of a sudden I learned about money mindset, and I'm like, boom, I can teach money. Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, boom, let's do it. And so this is like, I also want everyone who knows who is maybe doing this themselves, like, we've been there. Like I've been there. I've been the coach who was not embodying my work. I was the coach who regurgitated other people's information. So like, just know that sometimes that is a part of the journey. And now that you're aware of the fact that there's more to it than just learning some money mindset from somebody, or, oh, like this person taught me how to sell, now I'm a business coach. Like there's just so much more to it. And I just, I think that's important to say too, because I was that girl.
It is. Yeah. I think we have all been there, and we all have to start somewhere as well. It's the motivation behind it, I think, is the key, is like, and the self-awareness piece too, is like, when you become aware that maybe you're not embodying the work that you actually are teaching your clients, then it's time to go a little bit deeper with yourself. I always say to clients, like, are you being your own best client right now? Are you being the absolute best client? Are you doing everything that you are asking your clients to do? Because if not, then you're out of integrity, or as you would say, probably out of embodiment of what you teach. And I think that's one of the most powerful things. Like, I don't know about you, but like when I see clients embody what they teach, their sales go right up because they believe in it.
It has to. It's inevitable.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not the subconscious belief that like, oh, like I'm telling people to do things, but I'm not doing them myself, so I'm not worthy. It's just like, no, you're just doing the work. You're proving to yourself that this shit fucking works. And because it works, and you're not like fooling yourself or anyone, like you attract more people into your life.
So simple, but I mean, so many people just need that lesson over and over again. I definitely did. Like we all fall out of integrity. Sometimes it's not a black and white thing. It's a forever choice that we wake up every morning and we stay in integrity with that. We stay in the embodiment of who we want to be, not where we have been.
Yeah. And it's very easy, like you said, to like fall out of that. Like there was a time where like one of my best practices I give to my students is writing a love letter to and from money. And I remember I was on a call teaching it, and then I was like, wait, I haven't written my own in like 3 months. So come on, Sarah, get your shit together and just make moves, right? Like once you're aware that, you're maybe not fully embodying your work or you're out of integrity, like just make moves to adjust. You're not bad or wrong. You're just human.
No. And there's such power in leading from that place and putting your hand up and being like, oh, actually, I've got space to be better here as well, because that gives other people permission to get it wrong and mess it up. And that's really important too. If we are so scared of making a mistake, we won't do anything. We won't innovate. We won't create. We won't take risks. We won't take leaps. And that's really important for entrepreneurship. You have to be able to take a risk before you're ready to go.
Yep. Absolutely. So good. I want to get your take on something that it's been quite a polarizing piece of content that I've made, but it's just really what I believe. And I think that it'll probably land for you too. So I always say that when I first started, I was like, if you're getting called to the industry, like it's meant for you. And I use that. I used to use that in my marketing. I used to just like tell everyone that because, okay, like if they're getting the call, that means I can sign a client and like ickiness, right?
Yeah.
And so when I realized that the coaching industry is actually not for people who are getting called for it, but for people who are actually committed to it, everything changed. So I would love your sense on that.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Where do I start? I mean, I think this is beautiful because it really brings us back to the conscious choice that we have to be in like every single day with this business, because with this industry, with this business, with this life that we choose to make for ourselves, because like it does take commitment. There is this conversation online about how like it can be easy and it can be blah, blah, blah. And like it gets to be simple and like it can be more simple than a lot of people are making it, but you have to be committed. You have to choose it. You have to wake up every day and choose it. You have to, every time you sit down at your laptop, you have to choose it because you're going to put yourself in situations that are so freaking uncomfortable sometimes. And if you're not choosing it, you are going to opt out.
Yep.
I love your honesty about like that was a line that you used to get people, you know, to sign, because I think that, well, number one, that honesty is so brutally beautiful for you to be able to lead with that for your clients. But it also shows us how discerning we need to be about messages from people who we think are leaders.
Yep. Yes.
Like, is that line actually true for us? Does that feel good for us? Does that feel good as a truth, you know, for the industry, for life? Or does that feel like something that's been manufactured to get us to do something, to get us off the fence, to get us investing, to get us whatever? But yeah, coaching is an industry because to be successful in this industry long term, to have sustainable success in this industry long term, you have to be so committed to the work yourself. If you're not doing that, you won't last. And so like you have to be choosing it. If you're not choosing it, you will not be here in a few years' time or even a few months.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that just circles back to the start of our conversation, which is like doing it with the right reasons and the right intentions. Like if like I said earlier, like if I like your reframe though, if money was always going to be supportive there, like I'd still be doing the work, right? Because my why, the mission behind what you and I do is so much bigger than a dollar sign. It's so much bigger than that. And we're committed. We're devoted to this work, even though I always describe it. My coaching industry feels like the front line of defense sometimes. Like, you know, we're strategic, we're intelligent, we're powerful, we're leaders, we're all this thing, but like we're also the most vulnerable, right? And like shots get fired and it can feel so heavy and so challenging. You know, things get thrown at us left and right. It's the quickest way to a spiritual awakening, right? Like I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
But when your mission of what you're fighting for, to use that kind of defense term, like when it's so big and so important, you just do it. You just show up for it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that that's why people don't last here, is because, and not to say that you have to get into this industry because you have a big mission, but a lot of people have come in because they just were sick of corporate. Maybe they lost their jobs during COVID, like for some kind of external reason that kind of pushed them into working for themselves, other than like, oh, I really want to make a difference with people's lives. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like we can get into things for all sorts of reasons, but the important thing is that you consistently check in with like, what is the mission that lights me up right now? And what am I doing to work towards that? Not just like this life looks and feels like it could be a good time, because it's a privilege to do this work. It's a privilege to be in this industry. Like this is such a privilege. The fact that, you know, I get to run a business and work 5 hours a week and travel Europe for 10 weeks is a privilege. And like the fact that I get to do incredible work with my clients is a privilege. Like everybody who's listening to this, like look at your clients as though they are a privilege. They are not something that just got handed to you on a golden platter. Like treasure them and more will be delivered.
Yep. That's so good. I'll never, I actually, every so often I'll just post like a little, like, thank you so much, everyone. Like, it just really, it's like it's so, I feel so honored to lead this space and to, have you in my world. Like I get all soppy and then everyone's just like, you're so fucking cute, Sarah. Like, because, because people don't really take the time to look at like the fact that this is a privilege and that it is such an honor to be doing this work.
Yeah, exactly right. Or they say that stuff and it's performative.
Yep. It ain't real.
Yeah, it's not real. And I love what your clients and your audience can obviously feel how real you are when you say that. Such good leadership.
Yeah. Oh, this is amazing. I love this. Okay. So where can they find you? Where do you like to hang out the most? Don't worry about spelling. It'll all be in the show notes.
Instagram is my fave. I have a love affair with Instagram. I know people hate it, but it's my absolute favorite place to be. So I am in my stories most days over there. I am at the Midas Academy. We'll link it in the show notes, I guess. It's the best place to come and hang out with me and come and hang out in my stories with me. Yeah.
Yay. Amazing. Well, this has been such an honor and so fun. I really, really appreciate you doing the work that you do in this world with the Midas Academy and helping women or helping people in general live really fucking fulfilling lives, because we need more of that in this world. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I just adore finding other people who are on this similar, wavelength, and we can have such in-depth, honest conversations about these things, because the industry definitely needs more of it. So thank you, Sarah. And thank you all of your audience as well, because like you guys are clearly here because you care about this too. And that says a lot about who you all are.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, my loves. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you go follow Carly, connect with her, and share this with someone who you know will benefit from this conversation, because this is really important work. So thank you. I love you. And I'll see you next episode.